I think he's almost here. There he is.
Without
Good
I,
afternoon, Jan.
I could activate the image. Good morning, Michael. Hi, good. Uh, I saw a pink background, but no
hmm
image. Okay, problem solved.
Hey, problem solved. Nice and
Yeah,
fast.
I was until last minute trying to solve a few problems here
Oh,
on Jinaga,
okay.
but I cannot say that it was that I missed 5 minutes. I think I missed a few more. Uh,
No,
with
no, I think we're right
with
on
that
time.
with that data grid. Uh,
Yes, yeah, that thing
yeah.
is a piece of work. I yeah, going back through the data grid, yeah, I realized that the way that you want it to work isn't the way that it
Mm,
works. You would expect that just out of the box you say I want these columns and then you get the behavior you expect. But no, it's never the behavior that any human being would expect. And
mm.
then you have to tweak it to get close to the behavior. And then it's like, no, you can't actually get what you want. It's going to have some bugs, and so you have to just completely redo it manually in order to get exactly the behavior that you want. It's like they could have just made it work this way, but
Yeah,
we'll
but
go through all that.
are you sure it is not possible? Because I'm quite, and the problem is I'm still in my Windows Forms
Hmm.
thing, but so I looked a little bit into the capabilities of WPF for the data grid because it has similar capabilities as Android. So you can with all the templates you can change all the behavior, but I'm not there yet. Um, but
Yeah,
perhaps I
maybe
can
you found
show you.
a better way.
Yeah, but why is it giving me at once all these arrows? Wait, let me first share the screen.
Okay.
I share it on Zoom.
Oh yes, Zoom. I need to get that started.
I copied a few things here. Wait, let me make it bigger. What happened here? Great. I have my data grid. Okay, resources. I don't need that one.
Okay, let's get zoomed in on Zoom.
Okay, now it should work. Don't look at the data in the examples. I just took a little bit examples from internet.
Mm-hmm.
So no idea how these people are. I think it's independent
Oh,
with
okay.
ENT. It's not me who wrote it. Not even,
Okay.
but okay. It's a combination of samples that I found on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you. Let's start easy. So that was test 2, save, run. So with a simple combo box, yeah. So here I have a simple combo box.
Mm-hmm.
And so the text box below is nothing. And here the second one is just showing the content of the
Mm-hmm.
combo box. So if I change it to Spain, it changes. And if I edit it, everything goes fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it always stays a combo box. So the little dot here,
Mm-hmm.
it stays visible, but you can just go to the next text box here and change. Even if I modify something, you see, I
Mm-hmm.
can modify. Now, that's a simple combo box.
Yeah.
The only things you have to do there um, were critical is read-only true, false, and is editable true.
Yeah.
So nothing complicated there. Then if we take the other screen here, we go to this one. So let me show first. So actually, I have a grid with 3 tests. So the first one, it's a data grid with multiple columns.
Uh-huh.
So the first one, name, is nothing. The second one is nothing. The third one is a checkbox. But then here we have the first data grid column.
Yes.
So that's really a combo box column.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the one that I never could, just out of the box, I couldn't configure it to work the way that you would expect it to. But yeah.
So the second one, this one is a DataGrid template, DataGrid template column with a combo box inside it. So a simple combo box that is editable true, is read-only, is false. And then the third one is a DataGrid column based on an own definition, which is a subclassing. So if you go and look into the SAML code here, it's this class.
Wow. Okay, that's even going further than I went.
It inherits from the DataGrid bound column, and it overrides 3 methods. Now, I just copied it from the internet.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that problem right there at the bottom, the double tabbing problem. Yes.
Yeah.
I found a different solution for that, but yeah.
Yeah. But even that comment was there, so I didn't put it there. So if we run this one, so if we take, for example, this is just the data, the data grid combo box column. Yeah, so the first one, I can select things, fine, but I cannot change it.
Right.
Okay. So we go to the data grid column with the data template. There, I can select things. So everything is fine. I can change it.
Yep.
But when I change it and I go to another column, it has a red border. I go to, for example, the next row, and there I cannot open my combo box because here I have an error condition. I assume it's because I changed it, so it's different from the lookup from the item source.
Right.
And probably, I guess that's why it gives me this red border. And so, yeah, I cannot continue. The moment that I select something existing, then I can open the next one.
Yeah.
One of the things I don't really like as a detail is if I click here, I have to click another time to see the open combo box thing.
Right.
So it would be nice is that if that would be always visible, even if you don't if the cell is not in focus, or if I click in it, that it becomes visible immediately.
Right.
And then the third way is giving me exactly the same problem. So I change it, no problem. I change it to something else, and I also get that red border.
Yeah.
Now,
and there was another difference between party 2 and party 3, that when you click on party 3, then it becomes editable immediately. Whereas on party 2, you're going to have to click at least twice. I think maybe even 3 times.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So you selected the row. Yeah. So okay. So that's 2 clicks in order to edit.
So here, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
and here, 1, 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
That's the double tabbing problem that that the comment refers to,
Mm.
because the same the same thing happens when you hit tab to get into it. You have to hit tab an extra time.
Yeah, but with tabbing, um, what surprised me, so it goes further,
Oh
but
wow! Yeah, it
the
doesn't
thing
even
is
make
I
it
can,
editable.
if I want to open the combo box with, for example, the enter key, with enter it goes to the next line, it doesn't open
Hmm.
the combo box.
Does
So,
space open it?
um, no,
Hmm. Wow.
no.
Okay. That might be another problem we need to resolve.
Well, because a mouse is nice, but if you have to enter data quickly,
Yeah.
um, but so that's where we are for the moment. Um, then one of the things I tried, I said, okay, let's try one-way binding for the item source. Perhaps that disables that error,
Mm-hmm.
but that didn't solve the problem. Then there was this validates on exception, set it to
Mm-hmm.
false, and that also didn't solve the problem. So that's where I'm stuck for the moment, but yeah, I'm sure there will be a solution. But like usual, these small things they take, yeah, it's hours and hours of work before before you
Yes.
find something. I
Yes,
probably
they
have
do.
to deep a lot dive into the properties and how the data grid really works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so the combo box is showing good behavior, but once you incorporate it in a data grid,
Right. Right. And so yeah, that's what what I'm kind of frustrated about is that yeah, the combo box itself works great, but then you say data grid combo box column, and it doesn't behave the way that anybody would expect a combo box to behave. And
mm,
it's I can kind of explain to myself the behaviors that I'm seeing
mm,
based on how I know WPF to work. Because you've got components inside of components, and they're going to they're going to receive focus at certain times. You're going to switch from one template to
mm,
another at certain times, um, and and with that explanation, it all makes sense. But that's not the point. The point is um, you want to specify the desired behavior and then get that desired behavior.
mm,
Um, and so they should have done all the work necessary to get the desired behavior inside of that
mm,
combo box template. And so, yeah, I was able to get what I think is the desired behavior. I haven't tried strictly using the keyboard. Um, there might be an issue there,
mm.
um, but I was able to get that without writing uh, any custom component code.
Okay,
Um,
I'm I'm very curious to
yeah.
see that.
All right.
Wait, Zoom. I have to stop sharing, or
No, not necessarily.
oh,
Yeah, I can still. We can have two shares going at the same time. All right.
okay, I have it here.
Okay. And then get that off the screen. All right. So let's get it started. Open up the window. And all right, so here we've got the tools. Um, so click once to select, but then click a second time to put it into edit mode. So yeah, still there might be a way
Mm,
that we can turn that into just one click. That would be great. Um, but then we've got um, the list, and so
yeah.
I populated that with some sample data that you provided.
Mm,
We can select from that list, and then either click or tab out, and then it automatically creates the next row down, and so we can enter some more, or we can enter a new tool, and it's able to record that and display it. Oh, that's kind of I hadn't noticed that before, but
It becomes a little bit gray.
yeah, which might be interesting. Let you
Yeah.
know that this is a non-the-fly tool versus one that's selected.
Mm.
That was an accident, but it's an accident we can control.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I haven't hooked up the delete button yet, but it still has the default delete behavior. So just hitting the delete key
If
will
you
remove the
enter
tool.
just a character, for example, an A.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, an A.
Yeah.
There's no search.
There is. There just isn't anything that begins with an A. It's the beginning of the word. But
Yeah.
yeah, if I were to start with S, then it says, oh, spade,
Okay.
or GPS equipment. And then tab out, and interesting, it's got the color as if this were hand entered as opposed to selected. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to see if it's actually selecting the item when I use search. But yeah, so we've got that.
Yeah, that becomes gray.
Yeah. So then, in addition to that, if we come into the new task view model, there it is. Then we can put a breakpoint inside of the save method, and we will see how it manages to save the tools. So we hit save. Oh. Hello? Oh, yeah, selected yard is not, no. Okay, let's try that again. Let's select a yard this time. All right, and then we will pick lawnmower. We will enter a tool. Yeah, tab is moving me to other controls. Interesting. Okay, then we'll go ahead and pick another one. And then save. Now it's able to get here. So inside of this tools collection, I have a set of task tool view models that look like this. So we've got the name and the tool. So you can see this first one has a tool, that third one has a tool, but that second one does not. And that's because that's the one that I just entered by hand.
Mm-hmm.
So then based on that, it's able to decide, if you have selected a tool, then it's going to create a task tool lookup. Otherwise, it's going to create a task tool on the fly.
Yeah. But then we still have to change the data model to have not no on the fly anymore, but just the tool and the approve tool.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yep, it goes through that and says, yep, the first one was selected, the second one was custom, and the third one was selected again.
Yeah.
And there we go. We have saved our task. So, yeah, a lot of stuff to make that happen. In fact, I wanted to record it all in this README because there was so much going on, and this is supposed to be an example that other people can follow. So, why not document the issues that we find along the way?
Michael, and then I was thinking about to make it even better. If we go Yeah, you see my shared screen,
Let me get that back on the. Yeah, there it is.
DBS. So
Mm-hmm.
if we go to that screen, I didn't implement it that way for machines or for tools, but for name, I did. For example, if I just say Jan,
Mm.
yeah, he opens here. It's not a combo box. He opens a data grid, but so he searches in the first in the first column, and he doesn't search on the first characters only. He
Yeah.
gives me all the rows where
Mm-hmm.
Jan appears somewhere in the name, and that's even more powerful because in the description of machines, these descriptions you say, okay, I want to have a car, but perhaps the description is a four-wheel drive car.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. So it'd
so
be nice if you just type car and you see all the cars, even if they've got
yeah,
different things in front of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so here it shows you all the cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you would add car, but
Yeah.
yeah, perhaps no.
There's nobody named car.
Yeah. Uh, try again with Michael.
Mm-hmm.
No, Michael's.
Oh
Try
yeah.
with
Well,
Jan.
yeah. Those
Yeah,
are company
but
names, anyways. But yeah.
so you see there is a company that it says a construction company, and then it starts with Jan,
Mm-hmm.
and the corresponding element is emphasized. You see,
Yeah.
so there
That is
you
really nice.
yeah. But that was something where I started from something that I found on internet, and then worked on it. I think not for hours, but for a few days before it worked correctly.
Wow.
So that's why finally I didn't repeat it yet for machines,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something very nice to have, um, and it's very powerful for the users
Yeah. Yeah. For something like
because
that, I would investigate the the Telerik control suite. Uh, who else does one? Well, Progress is Telerik.
mm,
Trying to think of some of the others. But um, yeah, the makers of CodeRush. Uh, I've only used CodeRush, but um, yeah. So I would look at what they offer out of the box because just buying the suite would cost less than a day's worth of your time.
mm.
So yeah, if
If
it
they,
provides exactly that feature, it's worth it.
I know at the time when I built this, I've been looking around because even being against all these components,
Mm-hmm.
because in the long term it gives trouble. But I said, okay, it's going to be very difficult. So I looked for it, and in the end I didn't find anything. But okay, perhaps it's different now because here you type the first character, but
Mm-hmm.
you only see that.
Yeah, yeah. So that is the out of the box
Mm,
search behavior.
yeah. But how did you do that?
Yeah.
Because that's
Okay. Yeah. So in this README, I kind of uh, you know what? Rather than walking through this, um, well, okay. Let's first of all take a look at the view models. Those those are the same, but then I can kind of rewind through the Git history and show you the behavior at different stages. Um, so let's start with new task view model. We've got that open right here. So so for this, I have added an observable collection called tool catalog and a different observable collection called tools. So why two? Um, so the tool catalog is intended to be all of the tools that are available from the catalog. That's not the one that the user is editing. It's just the one that's available when they load the page.
that's the lookup.
Yeah.
Mm,
And then tools is the one that they're actually editing. So inside of tool catalog, I've got tool view model, and inside of tools, I've got task tool view model. The reason for that naming is that these are the ones that belong to a specific task, so you are creating some task tools. Whereas these are just tools that are out there in that supplier.
Yeah.
So let's start with the tool view model. And you can see this is a simple observable object. It refers to a tool, and that is the actual fact, the DWS tool. And then it also has an observable name. So the way that we are populating this is through a specification. So let me pop back to here, and we'll see that there is a method called load tools. So we call this when we get things kicked off, when we start loading the modal. So we've got a specification that given a supplier will match tools, and then for each one of those it'll select not just the tool but then also the tool names. So using facts.observable, it selects the names relation, and then from there gets the value, just the string. So that names relation, by the way, that is defined on the fact itself. So we get to define specifications and put them inside of relations and conditions. Just a nice way to keep our code nice and clean. So that is wrapped in a facts.observable, so that when we receive a tool projection, so one of these things is a projection, then we can call onAdded, and that gives us another callback that we'll use to set the name. So when receiving the projection, we create the tool view model for that particular tool. That's that tool there. Yeah. And insert that into the tool catalog. And then when we change the name, so we get the callback that the name was added to that projection, then we set the observable name property. And then we do this little thing here to sort the tool collection. So it's sorted by name. So it was inserted right at the beginning of the tool catalog, but now we have to find where it really goes and then move it to that position.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was a lot of fun. I got to play around with different AI models, and none of them are any good at writing a binary search. Binary search is one of those algorithms that the code looks the same, even if it's incorrect. So since an AI is just creating code that looks correct, it doesn't know if it actually is correct. It's generating all the mistakes that a human would make when doing a binary search. Binary search is really hard to write. But I finally took the reins and just wrote it myself and got one that works. But so that is how we are creating the view model of, or the collection of tools. Now let's pop back up to the top. So that's our tool catalog. Here's our tools. Now the user is in charge of editing this one. And so we've got the task tool view model, another observable collection. And this just has two observable properties. It's the name and the tool. And the tool is optional because they might not enter one.
Yeah.
So that is what we end up data binding to the DataGrid. So now if we pop back into README,
but so that tool catalog, if you add a new tool by just typing it in, it will automatically pop up in the tool catalog.
At this, with this model, no, but what you were describing, the model change that we need to make, then that would do it.
But you could do it already because you have this subscribe. No, not subscribe the watch.
Yes. So yeah, if we change the model, then yeah, it would work. It would work exactly as you're thinking. So yeah, let's go back down to the watch. So yeah, this means it's going to keep watching until we stop this observer, and we stop the observer when we call unload.
Because here it's a watch. It's not a subscribe. So why do you use a watch here and not a subscribe?
Yes, the difference between watch and subscribe is whether it is going to receive updates
Subscribe is
from the replicator.
From other, yeah.
Yeah.
So if for example the dispatcher or a computer that imports new machines from another database would update the database with watch, the technician is not seeing its lookup list being up to date.
That's
So
correct.
it's only its, in this case, it's only its own changes that are added to the, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, if we just change that to subscribe, then if the change occurs elsewhere, then we'll learn about it. Yep.
Is there a reason you prefer to use watch? Is it a performance or?
Yes, I default to watch until I need that that extra feature. The reason being that with subscribe, it is going to create a persistent connection to the replicator, and so if you've got yeah, if you use this in the mobile app, and now you've got a lot of people on their mobile phones, they are going to be all creating this connection to the replicator, and the replicator is going to have many sockets open, so that it can send the message to those mobile phones, and so that's also going to consume more of the battery life of the people using the mobile phones. So yeah, I only use it if I need that feature. In this case, since we know this is meant to be run on a laptop or a desktop, then we aren't really concerned so much about battery life. And then it's also run by a small number of people, so we aren't too concerned about consuming a lot of resources on the replicator. So subscribe is not nearly as bad in this case. Yep. So yeah, you just consider what is the user experience that you want. Yeah, so if we modify the model so that, let's go back down to the save function here. So we had these, right now, these two types of facts. One that captures the tool that you enter on the fly, and it just has a name. It doesn't have an actual tool fact as a predecessor. So when we update the model so that you do always have a tool as a predecessor, then when you enter something, it's going to immediately put it into the catalog, but keep it. It's not yet going to be approved.
Yeah.
So in that case, you do want to have this tool reference immediately, and so we will come back up here. We'll have some code that recognizes when the user has tabbed out, has completed editing, and then in that case, it's going to create the tool, and so you'll immediately get this callback. Hey, here's a new tool, followed by this callback, and here's its name. And so it will show up inside of that list as soon as they finish editing.
Okay.
And that would be true even with watch, because that's all happening locally. Yep. Yeah, that. What's really funny about this is while I'm working on this, that part is the part that just just falls out and is easy. All except for the the binary search thing, which admittedly I didn't have to go binary search, but that's what I wanted to do. But the Janaga stuff was just boom, it works, easy to write, and then just getting it all to work with WPF was a challenge. So the first challenge, so we're using custom columns rather than letting it the data grid just define the columns. Yeah, let's word wrap this. There we go. Yeah, to be easier to read. So the first challenge is actually data binding the item source to the tool catalog, and the issue is that the combo box that shows up inside of that data grid does not belong to the same hierarchy as the window. So you can't use relative source binding to find the ancestor of type window. That's a technique that I use in every other situation, where it's like, okay, I've got all these controls, but I need to go back to the main view model in order to get the something like the item source here, like the tool catalog. So if I could get to that main window, then I could get its data context, which is the new view or the new task view model, and then I could get the tool catalog from there. But this does not work in a data grid, and so I went with a collection view source inside of a resource dictionary. So if we go back to the new task view model, or the new task view, it popped over here. Get back in there. There we go. All right. Right up here at the top, we've got our window resources. So that's where I added the collection view source. And I used the key to look it up in the resource dictionary of tool catalog, and then the source was binding to tool catalog. And so this collection view source is in the window, and so it can bind to the properties of its data context. And then that puts it into the resource dictionary, which the combo box can see, and then we can use the resource binding to get to that tool catalog resource. So indirect way to get there, but we managed to get there in the end.
That's clever.
Yeah, yeah, clever. That's that's actually there's I can't actually repeat the full joke, but there is a joke at improving that makes clever a bad word. so yeah, if we're looking at each other's code and we say, oh, that's clever, that's you're doing things more complicated than they need to be. But yeah, you're right. In this case, it has to be something like this. It has to be something clever, because what you would just normally do isn't going to work. And you have to, this is one of those cases where you have to understand how DataGrid works in order to know that this is the right answer. So, it's only because the template, the cell template ends up putting components in pop-ups that are outside of the visual tree. Yeah, it's a little annoying, but that's not the most annoying one. So then, yeah, so then once we've got the data catalog bound, remember that data catalog is a, here's the new task view model. That tool catalog, sorry, is made up of these tool view models, which have name properties, and I want the name to be the property that appears in the list. So, so in order to accomplish that, I had to set the display member path to name. So this is another really weird part. Most of the time you're using binding syntax in order to bind to properties. But in this case, since you are kind of one level removed from the actual component that gets bound, the combo box gives you a display member path, just a string property. And then it's going to use that string in order to create the binding. But you don't have the binding ready quite yet. So you give it the path to the property, and it will eventually put it into a binding like this. So that's the display member path. That's the name of the property on the view model that's in here that it needs to display, and then the user can take that property and put it onto a different property, also called name, but now in a different view model, and that's this text binding. And by the way, I'm using update source trigger property changed, which means as you're typing, it's going to be setting that property. So every character, every keystroke gets pushed into this name. If I use the default update source trigger just default, then that's going to have the effect of not setting name until they've tabbed out, which might actually give us the behavior that we were looking for once we change the model. So we'll experiment with that. Okay, well, let's take a little trip through some of the issues that popped up. So I'm going to take a look at the history. Let's go back to actually, I want to go all the way back here. Capture the selected tool. Yeah, let's go back here. Take it one step at a time. So I'm going to check out that. Use the -B to create a new branch. Call it Explore. And so all the way back here, we probably need to build in order to get it to update everything. There we go. So pop on down there. So back here I've got the DataGrid combo box column. So this is just using the combo box column out of the box. We've set up the item source using that static resource binding and the display member path. And you set is read only to false. And I think is editable is true by default, but in later branches I made that explicit. So this
because
is...
that property does not exist, I think, on the DataGrid combo box column. Is editable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That would be why. Yeah, but yeah, later when creating my own templates, I'm able to set that property, and then even though it's the default, I still set it to be explicit. So now this is using the combo box behavior, and so yeah, let me lose focus again. So click, it selects, click again, and now I've got the combo box, and then click and it opens. Yeah, wasn't getting the oh, okay, that's right, is editable is not true by default. So yeah, we're not getting the editable behavior, but we can select, and when you, let's see, I'm trying to remember why it wasn't. I think at this point, yeah, at this point I was just testing that I could look up the tool catalog. So you can see here, there's nothing that's data binding it to the selection. So that's why it's not saving that selection. So it's like, okay, that's one small step. Let's see if we can go further. So the next one, so capture the selected tool in task tool view model. So let's reset hard to that point, and now that's where we are. And I can say, show me the difference in that last commit, and this is where we set the selected value path to tool and the selected value binding to binding tool. And here I added a tool property to the task tool view model. Okay, so now we've got the selected value path and the selected value binding. So there are two ways that you can data bind a combo box. It could either be the selected value or the selected item. So here's the selected item binding. We could have used that, and that would be to the actual tool view model. So if I had a property on my task tool view model, if I had a property that was called tool view model and its type was tool view model, then that would work. It would take the entire item that was selected and shove it into that property. But I'm not interested in the whole tool view model. I'm only interested in one piece of it. I'm only interested in the tool. So going back to the tool view model, there we go. We've got the tool property, and I just want to get that one property and shove that in. And so that's what selected value path does, is it pulls that one property out of this view model. So it's pulling, wait, no, not that view model. It's pulling the one property out of this view model. And then this tool refers to the property where it's putting that value. So, so yeah, this now allows the user to, let's just make sure that everything is working. Boom, boom. Okay. This allows the user to select, and now it stays selected. So again, click, click, click. It's made. Click, click, click. And so now I'm storing these selected tools, and it's using a property of the view model that's inside of the list in order to get that selected tool. So, making progress. It's not going too badly. So now this is where we are. Let's reset to here. And then if we take a look at the diff, yeah, so at this point, I have switched from the, let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, at this point, I am trying to what does it say I'm trying to do? Oh, this is just setting the maximum. Well, it's that, but then there's also this. What am I trying to do here? So I'm setting the editing element style. Oh, that's right. So this is where I'm trying to turn on editing for the combo box. And this is one recommendation that I found online, that the editing element style lets you create a style which can now set properties on that combo box. So here we set it to editable, true, read-only, false. So yeah, this is how you get around the fact that you don't have access to is read-only from the combo box column. So if I remember correctly, this one did not give me the behavior that I was looking for, so I kept searching. But so 1 to select it, 2 to make it editable, and yeah, we can edit, or we can drop down the tool. So it is setting that property on the combo box. New tool, and yeah, so this is the first time that I ran into this issue, that when I leave that cell, I can't see the value that I just entered. If I go back into edit mode, I can see that the value is still there. It's just not I can't visible. See it when I'm not in edit mode.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of those things that's like, come on, that's what anybody would expect from a combo box. So the DataGrid combo box column should just do this. But no, I had to do some special stuff to make that work. Okay. So then let's go to, yeah, this is where I fix that. So I want to display the user's custom tool when not editing. So reset to that point. And let's take a look at the diff. And you can see that here I've ripped out the entire DataGrid combo box column and replaced it with a DataGrid template column. Yeah. So, and that's all I did here. So the DataGrid template column lets you set a cell template and a cell editing template. Mm-hmm. So you could have two completely different controls for when you're just viewing the cells versus when you're in edit mode. So the cell template is just a text block that shows the name. And that's the name of the task tool view model. So that's this property here. And the cell editing template, that, okay, I did two things in this one commit. I should have actually done separate commits here. Let's ignore the grid for right now, but that gives me a combo box where I set is editable to true. Yeah, here, read-only false, I think, is the default, so I didn't have it, but I really should have made it explicit. I think in a later commit I do make it explicit. But yeah, we've got the item source, so display member path, selected value path, selected value, and the text binding. So all of that is as it was before. It's just we copied all that into its own editing template so that we could then have this data template. Rather than ignore the grid, let's make it, let's show what this actually worked like before adding the grid. So at this point, now that we have our own separate cell template.
Now you can edit it.
Yeah, so we can say new tool, and when I leave, then it flips to a text block that is bound to the name that I just entered. So I've got that. If you noticed right there, I clicked 3 times. So that was the issue. So now that I'm here, if I've got it selected, so now I click one more time in order to go into edit mode, but the combo box doesn't have focus. So I click another time, and now the combo box has focus. So
So you can enter data which is not in the lookup list
yes,
and
yeah,
go to the next. Yeah.
yeah, and then tab out, and it's there, and it's still not in the list, so it hasn't actually created that tool. With the data model change that we're going to make, it will show up in the list at that point. But
I'm wondering what is it in my code that generates that red border.
yeah, I think it's the lack of a text binding. Let's give that a try. Yeah, it's probably not going to do this live, but yeah, so without a text binding, it's just not saving it. So it did update the XAML on the fly, which was kind of cool. But yeah, I am not certain. It's yeah, and yeah, I don't think you
I
have a
will
selected
compare.
item binding. Yeah.
I will compare the two and then see what causes it. I had a text binding source.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm imagining that it's one of the data bindings. But yeah, I don't remember you having a selected item binding.
Selected value and selected no.
Yeah.
No, that one I didn't have. It's perhaps that.
Yeah, if my task tool view model tool property was not nullable. No, actually that's just a compile time thing. Yeah, at runtime it could still assign null to it. That wouldn't cause the validation error. Huh. Don't know.
Never mind. I will
Yeah.
compare the two and and add and delete until it comes in or disappears.
Okay. But then, yeah, now let's bring this grid back. So remember we were looking at, it took 3 clicks in order to get to where I can edit the combo box. And that's because when you go into edit mode, the cell editing template, it creates those components from that template and gives focus to the cell. But it doesn't give focus to the thing that's in the cell. And so you have to use either the code that you showed or the focus manager in order to control that focus. So you overrode the cell, and then when it received focus, you set focus on the combo box inside of it. If you use the focus manager attached property, you can say this grid is your focus scope, set that to true, and then tell it the focused element is the tool combo box. And so here we're using element name binding to find it. So why can't you just make the combo box the focus scope? Because this only works for containers. So a grid is a container, combo box is not. So you have to have this extra layer. And now that you've got that, come back to this. Then I click once to select, click a second time to make it editable, and I just need those 2 clicks. And now I can edit the combo box. And type stuff in. So that is getting closer to the behavior that we would actually expect. So taking another quick look at this, the next thing I did was enabled search, and as we saw, that is just the prefix search. And then here's where I added the code that saves, and we already went through that. Um, then I said that was a lot of discovery, so I wanted to capture it, and so I documented those pieces. And then I went through all of this stuff with AI to try to get it to sort the tool catalog until I finally last night said, you know what, I'm just doing it myself. But that was a lot of fun. We can go through that. Have an AI episode.
But why are you sorting it? Why are you not just in the specification let link sort it?
Yeah, good question. Good question. Okay, so let's go back to the new task view model. New task view model. Boom. And we are populating the tool catalog. I can see it right here. Okay, so why not let link do that? So we could, if we put parentheses around here, say dot order by. Actually, I think there is a way to do that in this syntax, but anyway, we're here already. So here I've got the tool collection, or the tool projection. That's what this this tool is. So it's a thing that has a tool property and an observable collection of string for tool names. That observable collection is what allows me to do the onAdded and get a callback whenever you change the tool name. But that means that the tool names that is this observable collection thing. It is not a populated collection. And so this right here is going to throw an exception. So let's see if I can get it to throw the exception. There we go. Yep. So this is Janaga trying to turn that link into a specification. And it says, I cannot support this. Yeah, it's showing you the full syntax of what you're trying to do, but somewhere in here. Okay, yeah, here's the order by. It's really the order by that is causing the trouble. So I cannot support order by, and that's because I don't have I don't have the tool names at the time that I'm going to execute the specification. I will get the tool names as a consequence of further using that specification. Now, I would like to have something similar to this syntax, so you can just express what you want to happen. It would be nice if it was this. Let's just try real quick to see if order by, order by. Yeah, so that would be nice to be able to do something like that. And I think what I can do is, while generating the specification, I can ignore this part of the order by and say, okay, this is just for the client. It doesn't become part of the specification. Once you send the specification out to a replicator or compute an inverse or all the other things you can do with the specification, it's just dealing in sets, and sets don't have an order. So so that order by makes no sense in a specification. But I can just strip that out and then instead keep that expression around, so that when you do call watch, maybe I can do something with it. Now, I'm not going to be able to do exactly what you want with it, because you might get a tool projection at any time. What you want with this is to get those tool projections in the order of the tool names. But when you're first loading you could conceivably have all that information, and you could conceivably create those projections. But if you change those tool projections on the fly, add a new tool, change the name of an existing one, um, there's not a way for me to give you those tool projections in the right order anymore. And so we have to reorder them inside of onAdded. So rather than this, I would like to come up with some other way to express your intent, but do it in a way that honors the fact that these are sets. Even the tool names are, that's a set. That's a set of all of the, all of the possible names, all of the most recent names. But yeah, very good question. And that is an experience that I would like to make better. All right. Well, I think that is all we have time for. I am about to head north to go to Tulsa. So I'll be doing.
Yeah, you have this meeting tonight.
Yes.
What time is it?
It is. So currently we are at 9 in the morning here. It's going to be 6 in the afternoon, in the evening. So that is going to be
9 hours from now.
9 hours from now, yes. Yeah, which is going to be pretty late for you if you want to stay up and watch it live. But we will record it. So I'm hopeful that Sean will be able to put it on his channel. If not, I'll make sure that I record it and put it on this one. Mm-hmm. And if for some reason we can't record it live, I'll redo it and put it on this channel.
Never mind. I will see whether I can make it, because I still have some obligations this afternoon. I will see, and otherwise it's next week Thursday.
Indeed.
Okay. Let's dream about the DataGrid this week and see what comes out. Yep. I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper in the DataGrid. That will help me come up to speed with WPF as well.
Very good. Very good. Yep. So everything we just went through is in a separate branch. It's not on main. So you can feel free to look over there, and then we'll figure out what the what parts to pick from yours and from mine. Like I've got a bunch of unit testing going on now, so I want to pull that unit testing in. That's going to be good. But we'll get that all merged.
Okay. All right. Perhaps see you later, and otherwise next Thursday.
Very good.
Michael, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.